everybody. Welcome to Do Not Talk. I'm CharLee Simons here, talking about the two things you're never supposed to talk about, politics and religion, and talking to the people the media keeps telling me I'm not supposed to talk to. Like Gil Maza. He's back on Do Not Talk, and I'm looking forward to it. He's a retired Border Patrol agent and author, and just he's got his finger on the pulse of what's happening at the border. What is happening at the border, by the way? The news, the mainstream media, never did show us what was really going on during 4 years of the reign of terror of Joe Biden, when millions were crossing over illegally and they were just processing them right on in. We're dealing with the aftermath now, aren't we? I want to get an update from Gil on that. But look what the mainstream media is reporting on now.
Tonight, new numbers showing the dramatic change at the border.
We've got the most controlled border we've ever had in the history, and in my lifetime in the Border Patrol.
In Eagle Pass, Texas, during the Biden administration, more than 2,000 migrants crossed into the U.S. in a single day. But now, under President Trump's policies, officers encounter just 20 migrants a day here. Tonight, DHS touting the lowest number of illegal border crossings since 1970. And Border Patrol Chief Mike Banks tells us they'll expand the 1 mile of defensive buoys on the Rio Grande.
We've got about 500 miles identified across the entire Texas border where we're going to place these in the river.
Is this the new wall?
It's defense in depth.
We were here 2 years ago where migrants used to carry children on their backs to get across this river and cut through this barbed wire to get to the United States. They would see hundreds, even thousands a day in this very spot. But today, it's silent.
North in Del Rio, border residents telling us they're thrilled crossings are down.
We want our community back normal.
Border security a major factor in two majority Latino districts, Eagle Pass and Del Rio, voting red last November. Business owner Leo Martinez is a Democrat who voted for Trump, saying his once 8-hour commute to his factories across the border now takes 20 minutes.
Now, if you look at the border, it's super quiet. So whatever the current administration done, it's working.
His daughter voted for Trump, too.
Do you think what happened here with the surge led more people to vote for Trump?
Yes, 100%.
But across the border, President Trump's policy blocking asylum claims also having an impact. Johanna Romero, with her 6-month-old son, saying she's desperate, waiting in Mexico since December, saying she's fleeing death threats from her baby's father. I was really afraid. It was a very strong threat, she said. President Trump's policy banning asylum seekers at the border is now being challenged in court.
Yeah, whatever. NBC did that. NBC did that story. The only one they could find at the very end who was in Mexico waiting to come over was somebody who was running from her creepy ex, who allegedly, supposedly, according to her, was doing death threats against her. Well, why wouldn't you turn to your own law enforcement in your own country? Why would that be a reason to come over to the border to the United States of America and get a whole truckload of freebies? Come on. That's so pathetic. How about CBS? What is CBS reporting on these days?
Crackdown on illegal immigration has border crossings from Mexico down to historic lows. The Border Patrol says about 4,400 migrants were apprehended at the border in July, the lowest number for any month on record. But that's coming at a price. The Pentagon told CBS News the estimated cost of border security operations since February is $1.2 billion. CharLee Daggett got a look.
We took off for the border in Arizona with Colonel Hugh Jones.
The border's right below you. There's a wall.
Jones commands a brigade of soldiers guarding that wall, stretching across rugged terrain.
The brigade is spread across 1,044 miles of the southern border.
So that sounds stretched out. How do you figure that out?
Because we can't brute force the border or just occupy it by force, we try to drive that in the smartest way we can, using a lot of the capabilities that we would use in warfare.
Chinook helicopters lifted in heavy equipment while thousands of active duty troops deployed to reinforce the border.
We span 4 U.S. states.
Major General Scott Nauman commands American forces on the border and the Army's Quick Reaction 10th Mountain Division.
What is this assignment doing to overall readiness of the 10th Mountain Division? Basically, I synchronize all different capabilities and resources to overpower an enemy, What I'm doing here is really no different. I'm not shooting, we're not firing lethal weapons, but we're solving a problem.
These combat units are sealing the border with barbed wire, strategic patrols, and surveillance in the air and on the ground, where Sergeant Anna Harker and Specialist Austin Waters keep close and constant watch.
Americans might be looking at this and say, what do you guys do all day?
We looked out to the border, and whenever we see somebody cross by, we say, contact Border Patrol.
And how long have you been doing this?
Oh, 3 months.
And in 3 months, you've seen how many people?
I think just 4.
4? The 4?
Yeah.
And you must be begging to see somebody out there.
Something. A lot of animals.
A lot of animals. Well, let's get a different kind of animal into the mix now. Gil Maza on Do Not Talk. Are you ready? Yeah, hit it. Yeah! Welcome back, my friend. How are you?
Happy New Year, CharLee. Doing just fine and getting ready to get started on a banner new year.
Good. I like that attitude. So I've been wondering, because the media's been, they were silent for 4 years when everybody was just walking right over and the Border Patrol was being completely overrun. And any kind of troops that were sent down there from the National Guard were also overrun, as we saw more than once, where they were storming gates and coming right past them while the Army the Army National Guard was saying, stop, or we'll use force. But they were told they could not use force. I doubt if they even had bullets in their guns. I'm not kidding. I doubt if they even did. But now the media's been very quiet about it. So I was really surprised to see that on NBC and on CBS talking about what's happening. What's been your experience? What are you hearing?
Well, first of all, let's start with the positives. We're going into 2026 with literally, CharLee, the most secure border in the history of this country. And last time this year, 800 and almost 900,000 entries in a month. Now we're down to 73,000 in 10 months. 73,000 in 10 months.
Hang on a second. You said 90,000 per month.
No, I'm sorry. In the 10 months in the Biden administration, it was at almost 900,000 for a 10-month period. 900,000 in a 10-month period. Now we're down to 73,000 in the last 10 months.
73,000. So that's
73.
not. These are encounters. These are the ones that they catch, not the ones that get away, of course.
Now, these are encounters along the southern border, which are very few, but we're talking about encounters at the ports of entry of people trying to come in and get past them illegally.
There it is. They were it was easy for them to walk across the border, and they were coming from all over the world to walk across the border. But now they've got to look at all these other ways that they try and enforce our immigration laws through ports of entry. That's ships, that's planes, not just vehicles.
That's why this last lady that they were showing, the one person they could find out saying that she was still waiting in Mexico to come in, she's running away because of a domestic violence issue, which is not a legitimate asylum claim. I'm sorry, like you said, go to your own authorities, go to your own, government, but that is not a legitimate asylum case to come into the country, just like 99.9% of the people claiming asylum coming in literally across the entire southern and northern border, none of those were legitimate parole asylum claims.
Yeah, it was. It's been embarrassing, actually. And then the whole thing with the fake kids and the cartels are, I wonder what they're doing now, because there's a very common phrase with Border Patrol agents, and they all know this, that the cartel will pay you if you help them. One way, if you do help them, they'll pay you in silver. If you don't help them, they'll pay you in lead.
Right.
Very violent.
Correct. But the thing about it is that it didn't take a bill. It didn't take a change of law. It took a change of a president. And right now, we have the most enforcement-minded president since Teddy Roosevelt. Okay. And right now it's carte blanche. The great, big, beautiful bill made sure we had the money to be able to do the enforcement that America is asking for. America. They said that it cost 100.2 billion to fund the DHS to handle this enforcement. Well, is that better than 500 billion to support 50 million illegal aliens in this country as we speak? 500 million a year compared to 1.2 million. You know what? I'll take it. I'll take the exchange.
Right. There are two things that they are making their most money from. One is drugs still, and the other one is human trafficking. And they're these people who are trying to get across the border, even when they were just walking across, the cartels were saying, you're going to pay us to take you over there, or you're not going. That's how bad it was.
Oh,
and
yeah.
We know about the rape trees. We know about the horrible things that these pigs were doing to women and children. And it was just an awful catastrophe. And how we all just looked the other way for so long is just baffling to me. But a lot of that, I blame the media. The media was not reporting on what was really going on at all, except for alternative media guys like me. And
But what was really worse, Charlie, what was really worse is our own sworn law enforcement, DHS, CBP, Border Patrol, ICE, being forced to become here is the last hope for some kid being smuggled, some person being human trafficked. But did they get that help from that last line of defense? No, they got processed and released and literally delivered to these sex and labor cartels and mills across the United States. So we actually became the last part of the process for this entire disgusting smuggling operation that falls in the hands of Mayorkas 100% and what I call the Autopin administration, because we just don't really know who the hell was running this country for the last 4 years, the previous administration.
No, we certainly don't. One thing that you covered also were the wristbands, the different colored wristbands, and you figured out very quickly that was telling them whether they were supposed to go, what area that they were being assigned to. And we were asking at the border, okay, where would you like to go?
Exactly.
Oh, I want to go to Chicago.
Even vet for kids, we couldn't even call and check if these were legitimate. We couldn't check with DNA if these were actually people's kids. Now, Border Patrol and CBP, DHS, they're highly trained to be able to spot when some kid does not belong to these people. It's not that difficult, But that's the thing. Right now, we have carte blanche, Charlie, carte blanche to do the enforcement that America asked us to do. Again, we shut the border down. Remain in Mexico is back in place. We're resuming the border wall, border buoys. We are even attacking birthright citizenship. Thank God. Finally, someone's doing something about that, right? But one of the highlights of this year, is going to be the Laken Riley Act that was passed. Already, we've seen 17,500 criminals get arrested by just under that act alone, and that's law. So even when AOC becomes president in the next election, even she won't be able to back that off. You know what I mean? She won't be able to get it off the books.
You really think that could happen, do you? It's sad that we're laughing at the whole idea of it, but I don't put anything past the stupidity of my own fellow electorate anymore, especially in California here.
I'm having a hard time having a faith in any of that process. But the thing about it is that we're looking at unprecedented opportunity for enforcement. And that's the thing. We see the enforcement coming from ICE, yes, targeted enforcement to criminals. But that doesn't address the millions and millions of illegal aliens in this country that simply because they didn't commit another crime, they don't deserve to be deported. No. That's not how it works. You broke the law. You're here illegally. I'm sorry. You cut in front of the line. If you rob a bank 20 years ago and you come today and you say, well, can I keep the money now and spend it because I didn't get caught? I'm sorry. That's not the way the law works.
But that is how the law was working because, the laws were still in place. The laws were never changed. They were never taken away. They were just completely ignored.
Completely ignored. Yes. And that's the question, Charlie. That's the question. So with all these good things happening, how much of a dent are we going to be able to put into this? We're still smack dab in the Autopin administration border crisis. Yes, we shut the valve off. The flooding has stopped. 100% great. But now we have to deal with the mold and the mildew in the house. We have to deal with all the destruction in that house that's happened. Every major institution in America has been affected by illegal immigration. Our schools are flooded. Having to learn, teach a whole new language to a bunch of kids. Our medicine, every medical facility in this country is in debt by billions because of illegal aliens having to pay for them. Education is a mess. Business is a mess. Social services, 75% now they're looking at of illegal aliens that came in through the Biden administration are on welfare, food stamps, SNAP, or anything else. So again, the taxpayers are literally paying $500 billion a year. And so if enforcement costs us $5 billion a year, I say that's a bargain.
Did you say how many billion per year?
500 billion per year in medicine, shelter, special projects, free rent, free schooling, free medical, free everything. They even get free loans. Right now, everybody's complaining about paying back their school loan. Well, a lot of these illegals get that school loan covered through government NGO agencies, which are literally, the NGOs now are literally the cartels of America.
Truly, Catholic Charities being the worst.
Yeah, exactly right.
Lawless, absolutely lawless, training them how to take advantage of the system and how to work around it and how to get Social Security numbers and so on.
Yes.
From Christian charities who are helping all these poor, unfortunate people who are coming from all over the world to just walk across the border. That was going on for 4 freaking years.
And I don't mind some charity, CharLee. I don't mind. I practice charity in my life as much as I possibly can, and I know, and I hope everybody else does. But when you start taking away, FEMA couldn't handle the emergencies that were coming up because all that money went to illegal aliens. The medical facilities right now, there's vets, there are people that are dying of cancer, that are struggling legitimately, and all that money going to illegal aliens. Places like Chicago, like Pritzker, and all these people that are spending hundreds of billions of dollars on illegals, never in decades spent that money on their own constituents. And they're supposed to be the minority, the party of compassion, the party of minorities, yet their own people didn't get this kind of money. And never mind, let's talk about the judicial system. For some reason, we seem to have the most lax and lenient judicial policies for the worst of the worst: criminals, rapists, child molesters, sexual predators. Yet we just recently, Sanctuary Cities released over 25,000 criminals into the society because they refused to let ICE just come in and grab them at the prison. So what do? Their idea was to just release them back into the country.
Right. That's what Governor Hairdo did here in California under the whole guise of COVID.
Of course.
To keep them safe in prison from getting the flu. They're not out in the, it was, it was embarrassing actually to me how stupid we became so quickly. But again, I put that on media. And they're all working for one common goal. And I've had shows taken down because I use these 2 words, illegal aliens.
Yes.
I was not even allowed to say that, but I did anyway. Had shows deleted because of that. But so we're not supposed to call them illegal aliens. We're supposed to call them undocumented workers. Well, they're not working. They're going right on the public dole. They're taking all kinds of welfare and everything else that they can possibly get, and sitting back. Or
calling them immigrants, CharLee, calling them immigrants alone. There are hundreds of thousands of true legal immigrants that have waited in line for decades.
Yes.
While these other 50 million got paraded right past them. And then, once you become, if you enter this country legally, all the right way, but you become a public charge, in other words, you start taking support from the taxpayers, guess what? You are immediately deportable, immediately. Yet somehow, this last administration not only flooded our country with who we don't even know who. I think the security ramifications we're still going to deal with for decades to come. So the question is, CharLee, how much work, how much is this administration, if it's the only Republican administration we get for now, how much are they going to be able to get done in these next 3 years if they don't really take a good look at the entire structure of DHS, CBP, Border Patrol? Because I'm going to lay something on you right now that not too many people know, but this is bared out by the Center for Immigration Studies. And they're saying that there is a resistance within DHS, CBP, and Border Patrol to do any kind of interior enforcement.
Oh, I'm not surprised by that at all, because the swamp is still in place. The deep state is still, they've not been eradicated. It's coming. I do believe it's coming. It's going to have to.
But unfortunately, we have all these holdovers from the Mayorkas Autopen administration, still in key positions, and they are not going to do anything to support this Trump illegal immigration enforcement push. Okay, because first of all, I think they don't want to. They're too lazy to do the work, and secondly, they don't have the stomach for it, CharLee. This country asked for deportation, mass deportation of illegals out of this country. And yeah, it is true. A lot of Americans don't have the stomach for it. And apparently, even those within DHS CBP don't have the stomach for it.
There's a third reason. There's a third reason, Gil. I'm quite convinced there's a third reason. And that is because they are all on the left. They're doing their father's work just as quickly as possible, for his time is short. They're all on the left. They're not undocumented workers. They're undocumented Democrats. For the most part, all the people who came across the border, they come from socialist countries. They even come from communist countries, like all the illegals that came over from China and so on. And there were many of them. And they are replacing the Democrats that they've lost through their stupid, horrible policies. And these people are just going to keep voting for anything with a D in front of their name. And we've opened up the floodgates to let them even vote in California.
A whole entire third world country. And when the next census come in 2031 and these people get counted, the Democrats will be so stacked they will never be challenged again in another election. But I'm going to give you a fourth really ugly reason also why America, unless something is done, unless there's a complete reshuffling, and people put in all the key positions from top down, from CBP. I think when Kristi Noem first got hired, I wasn't so keen on her, but she has come out and she is full enforcement, full throttle, kicking ass every day. So I am 100%. You got Donald Trump, who wants this to happen. You have Gregory K. Bovino, K for kick ass, because just watch this scenario. During the Biden administration, most of the Border Patrol sectors bent the knee to the Autopen administration and did everything they could to facilitate their orders. Mayorkas wanted just keep releasing him. Almost 50% of the people that came in weren't even encountered by Border Patrol. You know how many people went to those NGOs that didn't even see a Border Patrol agent? So we don't even know. We have no clue. 50 million is literally a very conservative number, if you ask me. So you have that going on. But you had one sector, one 70-mile stretch of the border that didn't bend the knee to Biden, and that was under the watchful eye of Gregory K. Bovino. So it was no surprise to me that when this administration came into office, he was chosen to come up and do the type of enforcement that I'm telling you. So many in the top echelons of CBP and DH and Border Patrol, even throughout some DHS positions, they don't have the stomach for this type of enforcement. And this is exactly the enforcement we need. That and employer sanctions. Once we get that in place, you don't have to worry so much about spending so much infrastructure along the border. If they can't get a job without verification, if we keep attacking organizations and businesses that hire illegals and decimate their working force, I'm telling you, that's going to be our bread and butter.
Is it going to happen?
Well, that's what I want to call attention to. I want America to scream at Donald Trump to let him know that not everybody that's talking a good game out there, as far as border security and all these things, are on his side. Because it seemed to me like all they were doing during the Biden administration is simply saying the words so that they could get back into those cushy positions. We got people in more worried about their suites at the Ronald Reagan building and cutting Border Patrol funds for vehicles in the front lines that care more about that and want nothing to do with interior enforcement.
How does the Border Patrol look to you now? I mean, we're talking about troops a lot, and ICE, of course. But how about the Border Patrol themselves? Are they? That's
a great question,
Charlie. Encouraged? Do they feel good? Are we strong there? How does it look?
Okay, well, that's a good question. First of all, now that Gregory Bovino has got this team, a mix of ICE agents, Border Patrol agents, the FBI is involved, local authorities are involved. Those teams are going out there and doing the kind of work that the Border Patrol is supposed to be doing. ICE is primarily administrative. I'm so sorry. They have their teams. Oh my God. They have their teams that do, targeted enforcement. But the Border Patrol was created for this kind of work from 1924 till now. Roving patrols, consensual encounters, employer audits and sanctions, all across, checking the welfare offices, making sure people who were applying at welfare offices were legal citizens of the country. That was our bread and butter. We got relegated almost from the 1980s down to basically becoming asylum officers along the border. But no, they didn't want the Border Patrol out in the rest of the country, which we have the authority to do. ICE only has the authority to arrest stragglers when they're doing targeted enforcement. They don't have the authority Border Patrol has to just simply go out into the country and walk up to an individual and establish alienage and then make the arrest. Because again, Charlie, we're only scratching the surface of this titanic iceberg here. And in 4 years is going to make it's going to be a drop in the bucket if we don't start putting.
We're talking 50 million, like J.J. Carroll threw that same number out. Our mutual friend, 50 million. Yeah. I was stunned by that. Because the media keeps saying it was all about 10, only about 10. Even politicians have been saying that, of course, on the left, only about 10. They've been saying there's only 10 million for about 20 years now.
Well, the numbers have been anywhere from 14 to 12 million for now going on 30 years. So you're really going to tell me that in 30 years, that's never changed? And then with this last Biden administration, at least another 30 million came in. So easily we can justify 50 million alone in this country illegally right now at this point. And that's an easy number. Okay.
So it sounds like we need to triple or even quadruple the amount of men and women we have in Border Patrol. That's what it sounds like to me. And let them actually do their job.
Yes and no. On the one hand, there is a body armor enforcement like you're seeing, Bovino and his teams do in Milwaukee and New Orleans and Texas and Chicago. But there's also briefcase enforcement, and that's where you get more bang for your buck. If you just get ICE officers assigned to as areas to go and check people applying for school, people applying, for social services, people bringing their kids, to any situation like that where IDs are needed, IDs are required, even voting especially. Okay, if we can get enforcement that way, trust me. Once they get, when they used to get past us, they used to say once you get past the Border Patrol, you're home free, and it was true for a long time. And that's why a lot of Americans, even people that voted for enforcement, they're kind of taken aback by the force of which Bovino and ICE has gone out publicly and enforced these raids.
We're seeing it. We're seeing it. Oh, how terrible. They're taking parents away from their children. They're ripping families apart. No. Families can go too. The whole family can certainly come along.
Well, think of it this way real quick. When Clinton and Obama together returned or deported 15 million, Charlie, 15 million. What did you ever hear from the outcry in the public? Nothing. What did you ever see? Protests, officials from DC literally obstructing agents and officers doing their job. When did you ever see any of that? You didn't. It was out of sight, out of mind, which tells you one thing. It's never been about the people. It's only been about the power. And so now that they're seeing this happen, and okay, so now why the tactics? Why the violence? Why is this going on? That was the fault of the sanctuary cities. The first thing DHS did was to tell these guys, we're going to go to your prisons like we've always done, and we're going to grab them from there. And the sanctuary city was like, no, we don't want you here. You're going to pick up people from the neighborhood. Well, they are the ones that made that happen, because now when they release these criminals, ICE and Border Patrol has to go into the neighborhood now. But guess what? If you happen to be standing there and you're illegal yourself, you're going to go too. It doesn't matter whether you committed an extra crime, because you're already a criminal by being here illegally. But if you committed an extra crime, it doesn't matter. You're going to. And that's the part that really gets. So now we're being met with violence. We're being met with force. We have teams of armed men attacking our guys. If you listen to my podcast with Bovino himself, he describes a horrific experience where they're sitting there enforcing a warrant, and they got intel that this group of guys in maroon masks and automatic machine guns, automatic weapons are coming to attack them. And yes, they were. You have the 1,800% rise in attacks against agents and officers, over 70 vehicles crashing in and obstructing us while we're trying to get to our jobs. And worst of all, the most prominent Democrats, from leaders all the way on down, standing there and calling us Nazi, calling us jackbooted thugs, brown coats, all these things. Well, why wouldn't some of these people in the public attack, something like that? If I knew Hitler was in America, yeah, I'd go attack him. If there were Nazis in America, yeah, I'd go attack him. So that's the hypocrisy there. It's a self-fulfilled prophecy, but they made it happen because they wouldn't allow ICE and DHS to just do the enforcement how they were going to do it initially, even though there was a plan to go after everybody else that was here illegally as well.
So I'm always thinking, what's the media? Because I don't believe the media ever really changes. I think they still are planted on the left, the mainstream media.
Of course.
I'm thinking, why would NBC do a story like that, a positive story about how there's they've cut border crossings down to nothing, and CBS also reporting look at this, hardly anybody's coming across. So it worked. So it's good, done. So good, everything's good. But anytime you see about ICE or enforcement of getting them back over the border or wherever they came from, getting them out of our country, I said from the beginning, as soon as the media shows some woman screaming and crying as her child's being taken away, the whole American public's going to lose their stomach for it. But I don't see that. My own fellow citizens, we still realize the importance of making this happen. We want this done. Still, we do. So I think now I'm thinking about the media. Why would they be reporting positively? Oh, it's to lull us into a false sense of security.
Yes,
okay, everything's good. But just let the people who already came across stay, and that's where amnesty comes in, and they're pushing that now. That's beginning.
Yeah,
give them amnesty. Let them just stay.
Yeah, again, and and honestly, Reagan did that, and look what that got us.
Horrible. That was one of the bad things that he did.
Yes, and it's not going to be any better now. It's not going to be any better now. But here's the little known truth, okay? You can't believe 90% of what's being posted out there, because they're posting, remember the Jesse Smollett incident where he said he got attacked by the MAGA, this is MAGA country and it never happened. And they went out, this is, we stand with Jesse Smollett. It's nothing but Jesse Smollett's. They report people, American citizens getting deported. They report, people getting their glass broken. Well, you know what? It's their fault. They're the ones telling law enforcement that they don't have to respond or obey a lawfully given order. They've been told that. But here's the secret. The raids that are being done by ICE and Bovino are gaining support. They're gaining traction. What I'm afraid of is that these detractors, which are high up in CBP, DHS, under Kristi Noem, they're going to get. How long can he go on like this without the support he needs? The sector chiefs out there. There's 20 sectors Only one sector chief is out there doing this job. Where are the other 19? So I'm afraid that eventually they complain to high heaven that they have to send their Border Patrol agents to work with Bovino, to work on his team. But what do they talk about enforcement? Do they say, well, we had 4 years of this auto pen administration nonsense, releasing them. Now we can go out and get them. That's not how they're talking. They would rather leave things status quo, the quiet, passive, bullshit, lazy enforcement that we've done for the last 3 decades, so that they can keep their cushy positions. And a lot of them can keep bringing that money in because, hey, illegal aliens are a lucrative business, CharLee.
Yes, they are all the way around for the left. And for those who want cheap labor, talk about, one of the most insulting things I hear people say on the left all the time is they're doing the jobs that Americans are not willing to do.
God. Yeah.
Listen, my family on my mom's side immigrated from Oklahoma and Arkansas during the Dust Bowl, and they picked peaches, they picked crops, they worked in the canneries, they did all those jobs, they cleaned toilets, they did whatever they could do, and it was they were grateful to have those jobs. So yes, to say that is insulting, and not only that, but one of the most racist things I've ever heard. Well, we need more brown people to be able to do the jobs that we whiteys don't want to do.
At a reduced rate. At a reduced
pay rate. Yeah.
There's only one reason to hire an illegal, and that's to game the tax system, game the employing system, and pay them dirt cheap wages to get the same jobs done. So they're comfortable with a subclass of slave labor in this country, as long as they get their butts wiped, their landscapes done, their rooms cleaned. Come on now. Who's going to pick the cotton? Same old story with the Democrats.
It is. It's sick. It's weird. And I hope my fellow Americans are waking up to that and realizing, no, this is a good thing. Not only do we need to continue what we're doing, but we need to do more of it.
Amen. Amen.
And I'm all about letting the Border Patrol go and let them do their thing, and actually encourage them and strengthen them and build them up even more.
Amen to that. I say if I could speak to Donald Trump directly or Kristi Noem directly, I would say, get rid of the slackers and the traitors. Get rid of those Mayorkas era chiefs and we need more Bovinos. We need 20 sectors. We need 20 Bovinos. We need 20 teams. Okay. We can handle the border on the side with all the technology, with the military out there and everything else like that. Crossings are down to almost nothing. Okay. Let's get in on enforcement, because that and employer sanctions is what's going to put the biggest dent in it. And it's deterrence. That's the key. It's deterrence that's going to make the difference, CharLee. And if we could do that strongly in the next 3 years, we won't have to worry. Even if the next administration comes in and opens up the gates again, all right, people aren't going to stand for it. People will not stand for it.
I hope you're right, because
Amen. Yes.
But again, it was so much of the media not really showing people what was going on.
And still to this day, showing, we don't even know what's AI or what's real anymore. We don't know what articles are generated by AI. We just don't know. So take a breath. Just watch what's going on. I mean, when you see an entire nation delivered from socialism and a brutal dictatorship, and leftists are saying, I'll trade you Maduro you can have Trump and we'll take Maduro. I mean, it just blows the mind. The entire Venezuela, but they go find the one person that doesn't like Trump, right? Mm-hmm. That loves Maduro. Of course, people loved Hitler too. And I don't like using that term a lot because I think it's watered down to nothing, and it dishonors and diminishes the people that went through that time, that horrific Holocaust. But these people literally today, generation is getting to the point where they're voting in socialists, thinking that they deserve something free, CharLee.
Yeah.
They deserve something for free. Since when?
Right. It's going to be interesting to see what happens in 2026 now that the big beautiful bill has been put into effect.
Yes,
I think we're going to start seeing some very quick changes for the
So
better.
let's clean house, Charlie. Let's clean house from the top down, and let's go and make sure that we put in place people as committed to the safety and security of this country as Donald Trump is, as Kristi Noem is, and as Gregory K. Bovino is. And let's start cleaning house. And man, get those employer sanctions in and working now. And ICE could easily, if we got 10,000 new agents, man, ICE can easily enforce that.
Let me ask you this too. Being a Californian as I am, we not only have sanctuary cities like San Francisco and Los Angeles and so on. We're a sanctuary state. What would you recommend to President Trump to be able to make sure that ends? Because I don't even know how constitutional that is.
Well,
because you're going against the actual citizens of the United States of America, and you're giving special rights and privileges to people who are not citizens.
Correct. Here's the thing. Federal law still trumps state law, and they might want to take it to court and bog us down with court cases. But the bottom line is, if Trump decided to send people, and it's happening now anyway, right? States are doing these things. Texas, Florida are out there, man, doing some great illegal alien enforcement work. I mean, Texas has almost taken up, just like the Border Patrol did. These Texas Rangers are out there cutting sign, tracking, and apprehending illegals out in the brush, right? And then Florida just came up, I think they like 21,000 illegal alien criminals that they've rounded up. And so once, we can go in California just fine, okay? But dealing with these liberal judges and these bought and paid for judges, man, that's going to bog us down.
As we saw in Chicago, how many were arrested and then one judge let them all go? As we saw in Chicago.
Yes. We were forced to bring Kilmar Abrego, the messiah of the left now, the poster child of the left. There was George Floyd, now it's Kilmar. I'm surprised he hasn't been sainted by the Catholic Church, right? It's like we're bringing him back, but you know what? I foresee that guy is going to get deported this year. He'll get his due.
I hope so. I hope you're absolutely right, but you are definitely right about we got to get rid of the cancer and the mold and the crap that's infiltrated government, and they got their cushy gigs, and they want to see this happen because they know that it is going to give them an inflated voter roll. Basically, the Democrats are going to have an inflated voter roll because they've now made ways for these people to be able to vote. In California, with the motor voter law, they are voting by the millions. Illegals are voting by the millions. How are we ever going to have a Republican governor this year come November? I don't know. I don't know if it's even possible in this state because there's so much fraud. And
then Newsom stacked the deck with that Prop 50. And I just, honestly, the cancer is so far in. We're at stage 5 here. Yeah. Okay. Across the country, the Somali fraud pales in comparison to the California fraud, but that's across the country. So what happens when you have stage 5 surgery, for cancer, for stage 5 cancer, you got to do a lot of damage. And so unfortunately right now, the cure looks worse than the disease because on both sides of the parties, they've all kicked the can to a man that doesn't kick the can. Okay. The man doesn't kick the can. He said he wanted Maduro. The Democrats put out a $2 million bounty just for fun. They should pay Donald Trump that $25 million. Because he did the job, right?
That's right.
The tariffs, everybody has a different opinion, but bottom line is, I believe that what he's done is not necessarily for us, our comfort right now, but the comfort of our children and grandchildren in the future. They're going to benefit from these if they don't get torn down again if there's a next Democrat that comes in, they're going to double, triple, quadruple down on all the auto pen policies. And, you're going to see some real hell.
Gil, how do we help? How do we follow you and get involved with what you're doing?
Okay. Well, right now I've introduced for this new year, a 90-second immigration enforcement watch update that I do on Facebook, Instagram, Rumble, YouTube, Substack, X, And it's just 90 seconds of your time, and you're going to get a power-packed understanding of what's going on at the moment. And we're going to continue to call out this government. Yes, you're doing a lot of things right, but you got to clean these areas up so that we can get the most bang for our buck in the next 3 years. So you can find me at Old Patrol HQ across almost all social media.
At Old Patrol HQ, Old Patrol Headquarters, with Gil Maza, Gilmaza. You're extraordinary. It's great to have you back on the show again, my friend.
It's good to see you again, CharLee, and I really enjoy your Godcast. Keep up the good work.
Oh, I appreciate that. Thank you very much for that. All right, buddy. Follow him. Old Patrol HQ. Find him on all those different platforms, and worth it. Worth it. This guy's got great insight, and he tells you exactly what's going on and how it's really playing out. And you can find me at CharLeeSimons.com, where you can get one of these mugs. Let's talk about politics and religion at CharLeeSimons.com, CharLeeSimons.com. May God bless you and keep you. May God bless America. But most importantly, America bless God.